It might seem like Galicia is a good idea at first. I mean, you can see spectacular canyons, breathtaking coastline, Roman sites, and a beautiful blend of cultures in just over 1/14 the landmass of California. They don't call it California for nothing, do they? Regardless, you'd be wrong. It's always raining, the drive is boring, and the food is average. So don't go there. Creo que los guiris han ido. Now let's get on with the real video. Spain, what have you been hiding from us? So I recently got back from a 10-day trip around Galicia, and obviously I didn't see everything, but here's a quick overview of the places I did see. We spent a night near Ribadeo on the border with Asturias, then drove up along the coast past the Cathedrals beach and Serra da Capelada, headed to Fisterra for 2 nights, drove along the west coast and spent 3 nights near Marin, Rias Biaxas, drove along the Sil River, saw the Sil Canyons, and spent a night 900 meters above sea level, somewhere around here. Then headed to A Coruña for our last weekend. So now let's move on to my 10 must-dos in Galicia. Número 1, pulpo. Or octopus in English. So this was actually my first time ever trying octopus. And it actually took me quite a while during the trip to get the courage to eat it. I don't know why, but it's not really a staple part of the Australian diet, and while kangaroo probably is a way weirder thing to eat, I just was a bit by the whole thing. But it was delicious. It was actually, I was surprised at how much I liked it. So I'd kind of been waiting for the perfect opportunity to try it. And when I was in A Coruña, there was a restaurant and you could smell the pulpo outside in the street. And then when we walked past, there was a little abuela standing in the window with her only job was to cook pulpo. She wasn't cooking anything else. She was like the pulpo chef of the restaurant. And I mean, when you see a stern-looking abuela cooking one dish, it doesn't really matter where you are in the world, but generally that's a good sign that you should go to that restaurant. And so we did. It was exceptional. And I'm obviously not a pulpo expert, so I have asked Daniel if he could share his thoughts on pulpo. Was it the best pulpo you've ever had?
It was about the second best, but that's still a compliment because the best was amazing, but expensive. So maybe this was the best. Pulpo is good. A Coruña is good. Pulpo in A Coruña is very good.
Número 2. The food and the seafood just in general. I might not be a pulpo expert, but I do eat a lot of seafood, and I have eaten a lot of seafood in Spain in general because Spanish seafood is exceptional. But I would say that Galician seafood has been the best so far, especially things like the chiparones, calamares, and I don't really know what they're called, but they're like little sardines. And the fish, we had some white fish that was amazing. Everything that we tried was exceptional. Like there wasn't one miss on the whole trip. And then on top of that, the bread in Galicia is amazing. They have delicious empanadas, and I believe the claim is that they are the original empanadas. And I mean, Argentina might have made them a little bit better. Please don't hate me. But Galician empanadas are also really, really, really good. And even just a random salad was amazing. Also, I must say, the portion sizes for food in general in Galicia are almost double everywhere else in Spain. On top of that, whenever we ordered drinks, they always gave us pinchos. Always. Like there wasn't one place that didn't come out with some substantial, not just like little nuts and nibbles, but like substantial proper pinchos for the drinks, which I personally really appreciate. Número 3. Fisterra, Finisterre, or the end of the world. I don't actually even know what we call it in English, but it is a lot more touristy than other parts of Galicia because a lot of Camino walkers add it to the end after they get to Santiago. So they're a really nice sort of tourist. And also I was there on Easter weekend, so I'd say that it was probably extra busy while I was there. but it's definitely worth it. The walk up to the point where the Romans thought was the end of the known world for a really long time is really beautiful. And even when there's a lot of people at the point, you can actually still always get kind of a nice little spot to have a look at the view, which is amazing. Definitely, definitely, definitely worth it. The other thing I would say about Fisterra is not to miss the beaches in the area. So I know it's not really like the main reason why people go there generally, but the beaches there are really beautiful. They're a bit more rugged and wild than other parts of Spain, and they have long stretches of white sand and beautiful crystal blue water and lots of like sand dunes, and they actually remind me a lot of home. Numero cuatro. Don't just restrict yourself to the north coast. Definitely visit the west coast and explore the areas around Rias Biaxas. It's so beautiful down there, and I feel like you could go anywhere along it and you would find a really nice beach. And we kind of just rented an Airbnb that was out of the city, just behind a beach. It was really reasonably priced. There were a lot of walks in the areas, and because we had a car, we could drive around and see a little bit more. The food was amazing, the people were really friendly, and it was kind of like we'd go up one mountain and down onto a little cove beach where there might be like one boat in the water and nobody else, and then you'd walk up another hill onto another beach that would be secluded, and then another one where there was a bit more life and things happening, but it was so beautiful. And it really reminded me of like the really beautiful parts of the coastline in New South Wales, but Spanish. And because there isn't as many tourists there, and the tourists that are there generally are Spanish, it felt really authentic. It was really easy to kind of immerse yourself in local culture. I think as well because there's less international tourism there, the people there were probably some of the nicest. I mean, Galicia in general, people were really nice, but some of the nicest people we met. Numero 5. Visit all the lighthouses. Okay, maybe not all the lighthouses, but visit some of the lighthouses. If you have a day where you're just looking for something to do, I definitely recommend looking for one of the lighthouse walks. Because of the type of coastline Galicia has, the lighthouses are always on these beautiful, rugged, wild cliff walks. And some of the walks we did to lighthouses were the most amazing walks that we did while we were there, and just generally super beautiful. And they also have a lot of lighthouses, so you have a lot of options for lighthouse walks. They do also have the oldest Roman lighthouse that's still in use today as a lighthouse in A Coruña, which is a lot more touristy, but I would definitely recommend it. And it is along a beautiful coastal walk as well. But my favorite by far was along the walk that I have no idea how to pronounce, so I'm gonna write it here. And it was in Rias Biaxas. Rias Biaxas. Too many words that I can't say. And it was so beautiful and breathtaking, and just like one of the nicest things we did. But the most amazing thing was we actually got to see Cies Islands, which was really nice because we weren't able to go because the ferries don't run frequently outside of summer, and so it just didn't match up with our plans at all. But from the edge there, you can get the most amazing view of the islands, and it looks like, I don't know, like Jurassic Park, if Jurassic Park had a beach. Numero 6, Cathedrals Beach. Cathedrals Beach is kind of close to the Asturias border. So if you don't know about them, they're the cliff face where the water's worn away the inside, so they look like cathedrals. The coastal walk around it is also really beautiful, and they have amazing food. Yet again, Spain, what is with having amazing food at reasonable prices next to tourist attractions? You know what the rest of the world does, right? I'll make sure again I put the link to the restaurant we ate at there because it was genuinely really, really, really good. So if you want to go onto the beach, make sure you book your tickets in advance. We didn't actually go onto the beach because dogs aren't allowed. And our dog's a baby who can't be left alone. But he went for a nice run on the beach next door. Hey? Hey? So sleepy. Numero 7. Drive to the top of some of the highest cliffs in mainland Europe. They might actually be the highest cliffs in mainland Europe. I did read a fact that they were the second highest cliffs in Europe aside from the Norwegian fjords, which would make them the highest cliffs in mainland Europe. But anyway, Yeah, the view from there is meant to be amazing, and the drive itself is a bit of an adrenaline rush. So this was our view. No. Oh my god, it's so cold. If you go and you manage to get a view, or you've been and you've seen the view, can you please send me your photos? Because I would really like to see a view. Even though this was like cool and eerie and like something out of a horror movie, I would like to see the view. Numero ocho. The Sil Canyons. So they are spectacular. It was one of the things when I was planning that I was like, I have to see this. I can't miss this. Oh my god. So what we did was we picked a whole heap of different viewpoints that were on the same side along our drive towards our Casa Rural, and just stopped briefly at all of them, as well as a monastery, which is apparently the oldest monastery in Galicia. But I digress. So I'd highly recommend that you go to this viewpoint, but I just have a couple of warnings. Starters, you're gonna have to walk through like the creepiest town ever that apparently no one really lives in. And secondly, just don't fall over the edge. The view is amazing. It's probably one of the best viewpoints there is, but there is no signage, and there is just like a clear drop off the edge, and it is scary as hell if you're like me and you don't really like heights. And I just feel like maybe there should be more than just a piece of paper directing you in the right way, like maybe a sign saying like danger or warning or something. I was expecting it to be like kind of a safe point because there was no signage. But yeah, I don't think it's that safe. Also, I would like also mention just in that area, we didn't spend anywhere near as much time as probably we should have. There's also hot springs in the area that I would really like to go back and see. But we did stay in a really beautiful Casa Rural, and it felt like we were in the Highlands, and it snowed while we were there, and it was really amazing. So I will link that Casa Rural in like particular in the description below, but also just like maybe stay somewhere a bit more off the beaten track while you're there, because it's a really good opportunity to just stay somewhere kind of remote and just completely different to most other parts of Spain. Número 9. A Coruña. So I kind of avoided cities for this trip because I really wanted to see some of the more natural sites in Galicia because it's full of them. But A Coruña was one of the cities where a lot of people had told me different things, and that was the one that I decided that's what I wanted to see this time. So it's like a big city mentality in a smaller city on the coast. So it's beautiful and cool and feels like there's a lot to see and do there. The people are really friendly, and it was super fashionable. So if you're into that kind of thing, it's actually like a really good place to sit down and people watch and maybe get some fashion inspiration. The food was exceptional as well. It's actually really weirdly dog friendly, and just it generally had a really great vibe, and I don't really know how else to explain it other than to just say it was a really cool city. But yeah, there's also like beautiful coastal walks, and you can see that old Roman lighthouse that I mentioned earlier in the video if you're there. And the Pulpo is also in A Coruña. It's kind of pretty in the same way that a city like Santander is, but it's like cool and with hipsters. I don't really know how to explain it, but you should definitely go there. Número 10, the last point. Take advantage of the weather. So obviously just by looking at Galicia, you can see that it rains a lot in the region, and we had everything from hot beach days to snow while we were there. So I don't think the weather should get in the way of anything that you want to do in Galicia. I mean, a lot of the stuff is outdoors, but it's kind of more like going for hikes and things like that where a bit of rain shouldn't really deter you. But if you do get a sunny, hot day, take advantage of it while it's there, because while in other parts of Spain, maybe it'll last for a week, in Galicia, maybe it won't. And it's pretty cool when you've been on the beach one day and then you're driving up to 900 meters above sea level the next day and it starts snowing. I don't know, there's something kind of really cool about that. So that's my video. Thanks so much for watching. I'm really sorry this video has taken so long to come. If you've watched my other videos, you might have noticed that I'm trying to add a few extra elements to my video, so let me know if you think it was worth the wait. I also wanted to say thank you to everyone who sent me amazing recommendations for Galicia. I didn't get to use all of them, but hopefully I will when I do my next trip there, because I'm definitely going to go back. I loved it. If you don't think you're going to love it though, don't go, because it's really nice that there's not a million people there. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and give me a like. Let me know what you thought. And to say sorry for taking so long, here are some cute ass videos of my dog in Galicia. See you soon. Bye.